iPhone 16 Pro versus Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra, which one should you buy? Now, in my previous video, we talked about the iPhone 16 Pro and how it's the best phone you can buy right now. But I got a lot of comments asking about, should I go with the S25 Ultra? It's around the same price, and I looked it up. It actually is around the same price. The S25 Ultra actually is founded around the price of the base 16 Pro, with the 16 Pro Max actually coming in at more right now. So that's the power of getting, or just waiting a little while. You can find these Ultra S25s for around $1,000. So let's find out how much better which one is over the other and which one might be the better option for you. So what is up, guys? Nick here, helping you to master your technology. And as the owner of both of these, I have really extensive experience with both. I'll be able to help you decide which is going to be the better. We're going to start with the design and the build quality of both phones. So they both are rocking titanium builds, and they're both lighter because of that metal choice. However, the S25 Ultra is definitely the much bigger phone in terms of the size to hold, so it's definitely more uncomfortable to hold day to day. Although it's not uncomfortable for a large phone, it is uncomfortable by comparison to the 16 Pro. So from an ergonomic perspective, the 16 Pro is still the better option. It also feels nicer in the corners than the Galaxy S25 Ultra, even though the S25 Ultra is more flat and rounded at the corners. Better than prior Ultra phones. It's still an Ultra phone, so it's still not quite as practical as a smaller option here. Now, from the actual design and looks perspective, I like how they both have their own unique look, and both of them do definitely stand out as a Samsung and as an iPhone, with those distinct camera lenses on both of them and just a trademark look of the Samsung phone. You can kind of just see the punch hole, the square look. It definitely just has that Samsung look on the right, and a lot of people love that. And both of them are very thin bezels on both phones, so you're not really gonna have an issue with that. Generally though, I do think the S25 Ultra looks a little bit more modern, just because Samsung has changed that design a bit more versus the iPhone, which kind of still looks like several years of iPhone, so they don't really look too different from the 15 Pros or the 14 Pros. But from the actual build quality, they both feel kind of similar. I don't like the camera lenses around the S25 Ultra though. They look, they're just not my favorite. These black camera rings, that's why I went with the black edition, because they kind of hide them more. The camera rings on the iPhone are definitely a bit nicer there. But I think either way you go, you're going to get a very rock solid, durable build quality, and design is going to be a bit subjective. But I think the more practical choice is still the iPhone 16 Pro here, because it just feels easier to hold in the hand while retaining a similar build quality. Although I do like the way the punch hole looks by comparison. I think it definitely looks less obtrusive than that dynamic island. Now, when it comes to the display, we are looking at a 6.3 inch panel here. And with this panel, you do get yourself a pretty good size. It's somewhere in between a Max phone, an Ultra phone, but not quite a small phone. It's like a sweet spot size. And for a lot of people, that's going to be just fine. But for some, it might not be enough. Although you can increase the text size, I do believe that you might still improve visibility if you go with a bigger phone like the S25 Ultra here. But it never really felt small using this phone day to day, no matter what I found myself doing. It kind of always felt big enough to do multiple tasks, including gaming, including watching content, reading articles. It never felt too small. It just doesn't feel super large either. But the trade-off is you get this nice feeling phone that you can use day to day, slipping in your pocket, placing in little cubbies and storage departments in your car, bags. It's just easier to operate and use this thing day to day. And for that reason alone, I do think that the iPhone 16 Pro Max is a really nice display. However, the S25 Ultra, I like how it takes more advantage of its display, and it definitely has it looks brighter to me. It looks a little bit sharper as well. And so if you want the actual better quality display, I think for the same money, you should get the S25 Ultra, because this phone does have the better quality display. I think it does have the anti-reflective properties. It does have a sharper resolution. It's more space to play with. And if you go ahead and we auto rotate for around the same cash right now, you can get yourself landscape mode, more of a tablety feel right here, and proper split screens, which you have to go to an iPad to emulate on an iPhone. So definitely, I do think that the Galaxy S25 Ultra is the better pick 100% if the display area is all that matters to you. It also takes good advantage of the display with the S Pen support, which makes this one of the last best phones you can buy from Samsung, just because they have the proper S Pen support on here, including different things like create notes, sketch to the write on calendar, screen write, sketch to image, AI features with that. So, and while they did decrease some of the features over the S24 Ultra, which is probably the best for the S Pen, you still have the support here. I would like to see that make its return on the Galaxy Z Fold 8, but it was taken away from the 7, which is a disappointment. But one thing I think a lot of people think about or know, a lot of people know this, but not everybody thinks about, is that you can actually buy a stylus and just use it on the iPhone as well. So if all you want is like the simple navigation of a stylus, maybe jotting down some notes, you could just buy a stylus on Amazon and use it on the iPhone, no problem. So it's not like there's no stylus support you could even do on an iPhone. You can. You just don't get that in the body. You don't get that S Pen suite of software support. So that still makes the display definitely a better option overall for the Galaxy S25 Ultra. Now, from a performance perspective, I am on iOS 18.6. We do have ourselves A18 Pro chip, 4.04 gigahertz, 8 gigabytes of RAM, and it just basically runs very fast day to day. And over all these updates, the iPhone 16 Pro Max, or the 16 Pro here, actually still has some of the best performance out there. It also does have very smooth and reliable, consistent day-to-day performance, nearly flawless now. After all these updates, they have gotten it to the point where there's really no crashes, no bugs here. The iOS 26 betas, though, those are still buggy, but not the official here. Even opening the camera here is actually not giving me that black screen issue I was getting earlier on, so with the camera control button. So this is even better now these days. So I would say from a software perspective, they still have slower animations by comparison to some of the Android competition, but they still have a very fast phone here with the iPhone 16 Pro. And even if you bought it now, going into the 17 Pro, this phone's still going to be super fast over the next coming years. Although the 17 Pro will have more RAM, so that's going to be important for the Apple Intelligence stuff. And the only reason these games are taking a second is because I haven't played them in a little while, so they're taking a little second. But overall, it doesn't matter what I'm doing day to day. The 16 Pro handles it with ease. And one of my favorite things about this, versus some people think the 15 Pro is a better option, it's not. It has better heat management than that phone and better sustained performance than the 14 Pro. So this one is just sweet. It's just really good in this area. But I have to say it. If performance and speed is what matters to you, pick the S25 Ultra. Reason why is this phone has faster animations. It feels snappier day to day, and you can actually speed those animations up. But it really just beats the iPhone in this area. It just performs better. There's no other way I can put it. Doesn't matter what you're doing on this phone. It has better sustained performance, better cooling with the vapor chamber. That's one of the better things about getting the bigger phone here. It also has just faster, snappier feel day to day. Now, some people might not like the way Samsung's animations look by comparison to the iPhone. That's going to be a personal preference. Some people might not like the way the iPhone's animations look. So you really got to go in the store, check these out first. You could see both of these phones in stores pretty easily and just kind of see how each one operates and which one you like a bit more. But personally, I would say from the performance perspective for day-to-day speed, I think the iPhone is definitely getting beat by the S25 Ultra. So for the same money, this is the one I would go with. It is a performance powerhouse, and with that Snapdragon 8 Elite for Galaxy, it's the way to go between these two. The iPhone, though, is definitely going to let you down, but it's not going to give you that 12 gigs of RAM, the full Galaxy AI suite. You do get the Apple Intelligence, but it's not quite as good of an AI phone. You don't get the Gemini like you get on here. So this is just a better phone for performance day to day. Software. Now, for my personal take, I'm preferring iOS on this phone right here, just because iOS feels very one-handed, one task at a time kind of use. And I think it works flawlessly with the iPhone 16 Pro, the base model setup. I don't even think about split screen too much on this phone. It really irritates me on the 16 Pro Max because I have this big phone and I want to take advantage of the display. But here I don't really care too much, just simply because I want to keep this pretty simple right here. And for that reason, I do like the software experience quite a bit on the iPhone 16 Pro. I like the quality applications that come with this, the fast updates that come with this. In addition to that, having just a really nice day-to-day one-handed smooth experience on this phone. And so not everybody's gonna be able to one-hand this phone though. It's still a 6.3. It's not small. So don't get it like it's not iPhone mini one hand, but if you can handle like a 14 Pro, 15 Pro one hand, you could probably one hand this thing as well. And so the software experience, it's iOS. You can customize the icons. You can change the colors a bit. iOS 26 is going to really enhance it with liquid glass. You can make the icons large. You can add some very nice polished widgets on here. I'm not going to show them because there's some personal information. Just give me 1 second. You can add some of these polished widgets on board here. But other than that, you know, most people's iPhones are going to look kind of similar except for their wallpapers, icon layout, and stuff of that sort. Whereas with the Galaxy, you know, this is going to be the best software experience if you want a fun phone to use. So if you find yourself bored of the iPhone, you're just like tired of it, like you just want something new and different, I think you're going to love the S25 Ultra. Not only do you have the S Pen settings, you have labs you can play around with the Galaxy. If I go over here and I hold down, you can go to themes here and you can just go to town. They have so many themes. Some are paid, some are free, but you could spend an entire afternoon just looking at these right here. So if you want something fun to explore, you want a new software experience, you can have a blast here. One of the things though that I don't love about the Samsung is that it does have, to me, double the features sometimes. Like we have Google and Samsung. So I don't really love how I have a Galaxy store and a Play Store. It's like I'm managing two different app stores here. So I'm going here and then I'm going to the Galaxy store. It's like, to me, it's a little bit too much sometimes, but not to everybody. If you go over here to Good Lock, you can really enhance a lot of your phone with this simple application here. That it's not simple like once you get in there. It's a simple app. With this application, you could change so many things from routines to one-handed operation to notification area to the clock faces to the way things swipe out to the nav bar. I mean, you can go to town with the customization there. In addition, you do have even more things you could change, like fonts, themes, all kinds of stuff. I mean, the list goes on. I can spend an hour to 2 hours just showing you everything you could do with Good Lock. It's just so incredibly extensive. And then on top of that, throw in a very good suite of Galaxy AI features. And I mean, it just keeps coming. Nice wallpaper layouts, different clock layouts, lock and AOD. I mean, we have so much. I could just be here all day. And then you open up to the expansive Galaxy or the Google Play Store, which is on all Android phones, and you're doubling up here. So, and then you have a nice polished One UI, which is very smooth with the animations, looks better than ever before. And to me, it's not quite as cluttered as like TouchWiz days. So Samsung is much further ahead in a much better software experience now. And then if you combine that with the fact that this phone can actually get updates faster than some other Android phones. So they update this phone regularly, just like you would see on an iPhone. It's just not quite as often. It's like once a month. Sometimes it's a little bit fragmented, a little bit delayed, but this phone right here definitely does give you great software support. So you're good there. It's just, to me, the software experience is more simple and minimal. It's just, to me, the iPhone 16 Pro still has a more simple and minimal software experience. And for that reason alone, I do think it's probably the better experience right now in that area. But if you want to go to town and want feature set, Samsung's still the king there. So which one to buy in the camera? Let's just make this simple. If you want a simple to use camera with great macro photography and great, easy, high quality video with amazing focus, pick the iPhone. This is going to be the better option. It also does have better social media performance as well when it comes to uploading to social. So if that matters to you, this is the way to go. It has spatial video, and it has a really good front-facing camera, although it has been out for several years. I think it's going to get better. If you want a better front-facer, you might want to wait till the 17 Pro. But if you just right now need a phone and you want an amazing camera system that's just reliable workhorse, that's the iPhone 16 Pro. You hit that camera control button and you're ready to rock. So this to me is just old trusty right here. Now, pick the Galaxy S25 Ultra here for the same money if you want log recording, if you want nearly as good quality, because it's basically on the same level, if not better in a lot of areas. You do have 4K 60, but you also can do 8K. So it's crushing the iPhone on 8K front. In addition to that, if you go to more, you do have an extensive suite of features, just like you'll find in One UI, but they carry it over here to the camera. You have Pro Video, which is one of my favorite features because a lot of phones don't have a Pro Video mode. They'll have like a Pro Camera mode, but they don't have Pro Video. So this is really one of my favorite all-in-one solutions if you don't want to buy a camera here. Just because of these reasons here, you can go 5 times zoom, 30 times, and 100 times, and you can continue to zoom through the range. In addition to that, there are AI features that are enhanced within the camera, and so the Galaxy S25 Ultra is such a better pick for versatility in the camera setup. If you just want an old trusty camera, though, for great video, I probably would still go iPhone, but if you want the true pro cameras here, I think these have more to offer on board. And so you're not going to go wrong either way, but the Samsung for the same money offers more in the package. The iPhone offers more in the sense of like a reliable social media camera and also one that just has simpler usage. So either way you go, you win. But I think if you're paying the same money and you want a little bit more for that money, the Samsung is going to give you that. So when it comes to battery life, the iPhone 16 Pro is one of the best battery life phones in this size range. It actually still has better standby time to me than the Galaxy S25 Ultra. Issue though is that it's limited by physics. This is a smaller phone, so it has a smaller battery, which means it doesn't last as long as the S25 Ultra. So yes, you will be sacrificing a little bit of battery. We're talking in my range, from my use, I'm talking about an hour to an hour and a half better, sometimes pushing into 2 hours better on the Galaxy S25 Ultra. So at this price, we are comparing the smaller size to the bigger size. It's just physics. It has a bigger battery, and so we're done. We're done with the conversation. Get the S25 Ultra. Battery is the king. But here's the thing, the iPhone 16 Pro, if other areas have been, making you lean towards this one, you're not going to be disappointed by the battery. What you will be disappointed by the iPhone is the lack of fast charging. The Galaxy S25 Ultra does charge faster, so it gives you an experience that you can pop this thing on the 45-watt charger and be charged up within 45 minutes or so, versus the iPhone could take quite a bit longer, especially if you're not on their fastest version of the charger, which tops out somewhere around 25 watts. So it's not that fast of a charging phone. And when it comes to the ecosystems, of course, you have iPad options here for this, Galaxy Watch, Apple Watch, Galaxy Tablet. You can get for the iPhone, the MacBook, you can get the Galaxy Book. So you can get the AirPods Pro, you can get the Galaxy Buds Pro 3. So these phones both have ecosystems to match, so that's not really a big issue. But I think if you want the ecosystem that really is more integrated, it's the iPhone, because the Apple Watch, the Mac, the iPad, AirPods, all these things are very tightly controlled by Apple, so they still have that ecosystem advantage. It's not as strong as it once was because Samsung is really having a strong competitor now, but it's still more integrated. I mean, we're still using Google software on the Samsung, which is going to stay that way. We're using Windows software on a MacBook, and we're using Wear OS on the on the Galaxy Watch. So all of these things, while they do match up pretty good, they're not quite the same exact system as like the iPhone. Like the iPhone and all these Apple things, they just kind of all seem like the exact same software. Whereas these, it seems like you're managing a little bit more. And to me, if you want a simpler experience, the ecosystem is still stronger on the iPhone. When it comes to longevity, I do think the iPhone is the better choice. It will resell for higher unless you trade the Samsung to Samsung themselves. I do think you'll get more money back on your iPhone and easier to sell than this phone over the next couple of years. In terms of actual strength of the phone, they're both very tough, so they're going to hold up very well. And you do have great accessories for both of them, so that's not really an issue. The connectivity-wise, the S25 Ultra does have a little bit better signal strength, 5G performance over this iPhone, and definitely the iPhone's better than it was before, but not quite as good as a Samsung phone. I find it to get better signal bars on that Samsung phone. So who should buy which? And for the price of nearly the same, it's around $1,000 for both of these. Which one is going to be the better phone to buy here? I feel like it's very, very tight, even though this is a smaller phone. These do come in at around the same price. I do think if you want more out of your money, like from a hardware perspective, the Galaxy is better. I think if you want to play around with the features, you want just a very, very feature-packed experience, the Samsung is the way to go. If you're investing in the Apple ecosystem, though, the Samsung would be a bad choice, because then you have to buy all these other Samsung products, which could be very costly to get to the same matching up of the ecosystem you're already in. I do think the 16 Pro is a better phone for simplicity sake, for minimalism, like just very easy one hand. The software is simple, it just gets updated. It just works. I feel like it's definitely less boggling on the mind to manage compared to the Galaxy Store, the App Store, the Play Store here, all the features to get it set up. It's just a little more setup here, but once you get going, the Samsung is easy to do as well. They do have the Samsung account. You have your Google account, so you're kind of like a lot of things going on over here. But definitely for value for money at the same price, you're going to be very, very happy to get more for your money on the Samsung from the hardware front. So that's how I would pick. Personally, if I had only one choice between these two, my tech head is telling me the S25 Ultra all day, but my day-to-day use is telling me 16 Pro, just because it's so simple and easy, and it just kind of works in the background of your life. It's very simple. It's not overly exciting, but it just gets the job done, if that makes sense. So let me know your thoughts about this one. The S25 Ultra was 16 Pro Max prices, but I'm seeing it now at iPhone 16 Pro base model prices. That's why I made this video, even though they're not the exact same size. So thumbs up if you enjoyed it, subscribe if you haven't already, and let me know your thoughts on what you would pick down below in the comment section. Nick here. Be sure to be well, and peace.